Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Wind Down Fridays with Shirley at bellandblessed.com, where we just come and we talk about this week's events, if there's any current events, how your week was, how you can make it better, literally to wind down. I have my glass of wine here. This is Barefoot Sweet Red, one of my absolute favorite wines. And I do want to preface by saying, if there is any like black owned wine brands out there, I would love to partner with you. I do want to give homage and every week maybe bring on a new wine and discuss maybe a few fun facts, where they can find it, etc. Honestly, I can say I've never been a wine girl. I always used to say wine makes me very sleepy. And I'm learning that's the point of why people like wine. It doesn't necessarily make you sleepy, it just makes you relaxed, which is good. After a long week, we all need it. So I'm first going to start off, as everyone, or some may not be aware of, the unfortunate death of Takeoff, which originated from the Migos. You know, the Migos have since broke up, and it's just been Takeoff and Quavo doing their own thing. I am a very big Migos fan, and I feel like I identify with them and I like them so much because they came out when I was in college, and I just feel like I grew with them, you know, from college on. So probably like 2010, 2011, getting to know their music. I have a lot of family in Atlanta. So I would say for the past like 20 years, I've been back and forth to Atlanta all the time, visiting family. My older sister lives there. Shout out to Stephanie. She went to Clark Atlanta University after college and stayed there, built a beautiful life. So Atlanta has my heart. And, you know, just waking up to that news was extremely sad for me. Like, I don't think I've cried over a celebrity death in a long time. And he was so young. You know, I low-key had a little crush on him because I just love the way that he came across, very mysterious. You know, he was very low-key. Never, you know, they're all flashy. They like nice jewelry. They like to have nice things. But he just always came across as a very humble spirit to me. And it's so unfortunate, actually, because when I was looking at things to commemorate him, I couldn't find a lot of clips or interviews or really much anything where it was just him. And it's so sad that their album just came out and literally he was taking off. Like, you know, this album would have just been a time for him to shine, a time for his fans to get to know him. For some reason, this reminded me of when Aaliyah died. I remember I was in 7th grade and we were literally like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning sitting around the TV. And this is when MTV News was big. So MTV News, we see a news flash come on. And this was like 2 o'clock in the morning. So they're like breaking news. We knew something happened. They're like, the singer Aaliyah died in a plane crash. And me, my cousin, and my little sister, like, you would have thought Aaliyah was our best friend. Like, literally crying. Just so sad. And her album had just came out. I believe it was More Than a Woman. Rock the Boat had just came out. Diary was big on MTV. That's how much of a diehard fan I am of like MTV. Every show you could think of, I was in front of that TV watching it. But Diary had just came out, where she was there following her with her new album. And it was just so sad, you know, and it just reminded me of that time. Like, you know, like anything could happen in life. And celebrities, that's always hard because of the way he passed away, which was tragic. It was sudden. It was so senseless to so many. But I feel like any death, where a celebrity or what have you, it always just reminds you of how precious life is, you know? And that, I think, alone was like the undertone of my week, where anything that happened that was beyond my control, or when I got upset, or anything that like took me out of my joy, I went back to that. Like, Shirley, life is so short, you know? And I want to preface that by saying 2 things, because I do feel there is joy and there is value in always putting that in the forefront of your mind. Like, things are not worth it, you know? Like, anything could happen. Let me enjoy today. Let me enjoy the moment. Let me embrace life. In the same breath, when it comes to relationships, I preface it in the same way that, yes, life is short, and that's the exact reason why I pick and choose who I spend my energy on, essentially. Like, you know, there are bonds that have been broken with people that used to be very close to my life, and I look at everyone as they come into your life, right? Like, we're all spirits on this human journey, so we I believe that you have a spirit family that you're born into, and these are the people that you grow up with and you go through different stages of life with. But there comes a time when mostly when you're an adult, that you choose based on just prior, relationships, prior altercations, prior anything, where you say, do I want this person in my life? Does this person bring value? How has this person hurt me? Or have they hurt me in a way where I can move forward from it? And I think that's the beauty in growing, is being able to look back and say, you know what? I'm choosing the relationships that I want in my life. I'm choosing the energy that I want to have around me. I'm choosing the relationships or bonds, if they were broken, that I want to repair. Because to be frank, I don't believe that every bond that is broken should be repaired. I don't. I believe everyone comes in your life for a reason and a season. And sometimes when that season is over, we tend to hold on, and we tend to, be very sad about it and not want to face it, whether it be a romantic relationship, a personal relationship, a family relationship, a friend relationship, sometimes even a job relationship. Like, how many times have we been in a job where we knew it wasn't serving our higher purpose, that we weren't happy, that we just felt like we could be utilizing our skills better, we weren't being treated or maybe even paid accordingly, and it's like we held on because it paid the bills or it served some purpose. Being afraid to let go is normal. Like when you have bills and you have stuff that have to take care of, you have a family, it's a lot easier said than done to say, this is not serving me and I have to move forward to something that makes me happy. It's not as easy. It's easier said than done for some people. But I do believe that is like an overarching just theme of life that I personally felt this week. And, another realization that I came to was not everyone is worthy of your energy. And I say that because I'll use me, for example. Like, I tend to have long-lasting relationships. I like to, any of my, true core friends have been in my life for a very long time. Whether I met them from elementary, high school, college even. My college friends, shout out to my UA girls. It'll be, maybe 15 years since we've known each other, from 2007 to now. Every year we get together, we have a ladies' weekend where we just come together, drink, talk, catch up on each other's lives. We don't always have a chance to talk all the time and talk about our day-to-day because we're adults and we're so busy, but it's always a weekend I look forward to because it takes me back to the time of being in school and just having that core group of girlfriends that you can lean on through everything, especially being away from school. It's not always easy. So I tend to have long relationships. I like that. I feel that it's just a beauty in knowing for someone for a long time and being able to look back on memories and say, we've been through this together, we've been through that together, or just commemorating your friendship. In the same breath with a romantic relationship, there are times where you can be with someone for 10 years. And I feel like we see this a lot in the media with celebrity couples where they'll be either married. I'll use Tia and Corey, for example. Like Tia Mowry and Corey Hardrick. When the news came out that they split, I was so surprised. I was shocked because they've been on Black love documentaries and they've just always been very vocal about their story. Like him, being at his lowest, trying to make it in Hollywood, her being that support system, them making it together, building a beautiful family. So when I seen them getting divorced, I was devastated. And I'm like, wow, that's a couple that I look up to. But I had to remember that, maybe they're in a stage of life where they've both made a decision and realization that their relationship no longer serves them. The season where he was struggling and she was there for him and she was holding him down, and now they're more established, they're older. I believe they're both in their 40s, maybe even early 50s. And now there's they're going into that next season of life. And maybe they both come to the realization that, in this next stage of my life, I don't know if this relationship serves me, this marriage serves me. And on the outside looking in, I think it's shocking. And you expect people like that, especially, you're like, they're so in love and you expect this to last forever. And you're shocked and, a little sad. Like, wow, if they can't make it, who can make it? And, you look at divorce rates and marriages not lasting. But it just goes to remind me that, nothing is guaranteed and nothing lasts forever, you know? And when I say that as far as relationships, I also say that when you're going through a storm, you know? And I've been through so many storms in life. And one thing that always helped me to come through on the other side was telling myself, like, Shirley, if you're at your lowest now and you're at the lowest pit that you can be in, there's no other way than to go up. You know, like, I'm a strong believer in God. I'm a strong believer in faith. I'm a strong believer in spirituality, timing. It's like, I know my God, you know, I know he loves me. And I know sometimes we put ourselves in self-inflicting situations. Sometimes there are lessons that we have to learn. Sometimes things just happen, you know, and we tend to, as humans, our mind always wants to look for the reason, right? So we're always like, why is this? You know, why did this happen? We're always thinking about the whys. And I tend to do that all the time. I'm like, well, maybe this happened because that. And then sometimes I have to bring it back. Maybe it happened because it happened. You know, like, maybe it happened because this is what was supposed to happen in my life, you know? And someone once told me, our story is written. Every day you're just turning the page. And for some reason, I always knew that. But when they said it in the moment, it brought this peace and calmness to me that I always think that now. And I believe in being in the moment. I believe in living life day at a time. But when you look at that bigger picture, like, everything that is going to happen, God knows it's going to happen. Everything that is happening, he knew it before you knew it. And he knew and prepared the way for you to get through that storm and to give you the resources. And if you don't have the resources, he will give you the spirit to pray for it. And I can honestly say that. So that, in a nutshell, just makes me feel good to know that no matter what you're going through in life, you know, there's going to get a point that is going to get better. There's going to get a point that you're going to cross on the other side. There's going to be a point that you're so much at the lowest that you may look and say, you know what am I going to change about my life? What am I going to change about maybe some of the things that I'm doing? What am I going to change to make it better? Because we all have choices, you know, and every choice that we make leads to a next step and an open door. So sometimes I do also feel that you are going through a storm to teach you a lesson, and it's also equipping you with the strength to make it on the other side, you know, and that other side, sometimes in the midst of a storm, you don't even know what that other side looks like. You know, you're not even in the mental frame or the emotional state of mind to say, okay, I'm going to put this plan together. But that's when you pray and you lean on people that love you, and you lean on people that have your best interests, that can speak to you and speak to your heart and say, and look in you. You know, I've had so many people in my life, thank God, that have poured into me and said, you're so smart, you know, you're creative, you have this talent, you have that, why don't you try this, why don't you try that? And even in the moment, if I didn't identify with it or I wasn't up to it, I always came back to it, you know, at a later time, and remembered, like, wow, these people poured into me. And that's so important, you know, just pouring into people you love, speaking life over people, affirming their strengths, affirming that they can do all things. It's just important to be there for people, to show up, to, you know, sometimes someone will pop up in my mind and I'm like, oh, you know, should I text them? Should I call them? And I'm like, you know, let me just text them and see how they're doing. You know, like, they cross my mind for a reason. And more often than not, they're like, oh, I was just thinking about you. That's so funny. Or I was just going to reach out to you, or will tell me they're going through something. And, you know, life is a funny way of just unfolding, you know. And this week was a tough week for me. It was tough emotionally, just personal things that I was going through. But looking from Monday through Friday, as we approach Friday, today especially, I can say I made it on the other side. You know, like, Monday compared to Tuesday, compared to Wednesday, compared to Thursday, compared to Friday. Now it's Friday, and I'm like, you know what, Shirley, you did it. You made it. You made it through the challenges. You made it through all of the worries, the anxieties, the fears, the being upset, the being happy. Like, every emotional roller coaster, every ebb and flow, every emotion, every just situation, you know. Like, Friday is here. And I can look back and say it's been a good week, you know. Like, I did the best that I could in every situation. I gave 100%. I woke up every day and thank God for a new day. You know, Takeoff's death definitely has affected me, you know, and I think it's affected a lot of people. A great man, very unfortunate in the way that he passed away, very devastating. And, you know, I just pray as a community that we will come together and find solutions to gun violence. And I'm going to leave it there because there are so many conversations happening, so many discussions, so many hands being pointed at the wrong people, I feel like. And we have to identify the underlying situations as to where we end up. You know, why Black men tend to have this aggressive, toxic masculinity, misogynistic viewpoint in America, you know, and they can be clean cut, never violent in their life, no criminal record, but they're seen as a threat walking down the street as a Black man, you know. Same thing with Black women or as a society. I think until we change our core values and we change the situations that lead to unfortunate situations like this, it will continue to be a pattern. You know, I have 4 nephews and I pray over them every day. And when situations like this happen, it does make me very fearful of their future in America, of how they will be treated, how they will be viewed, how they will be weaponized. And all I can do is show up in their life as an aunt and really just do the best that I can, you know, pour into them, love them, and pray they don't turn to certain activities that will lead them down a certain path. And always, you know, just be sure that they have the outlet to express themselves creatively and know they can do all things, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whether it's anything creative. Like, just, I want to support them in any way they can so they stay busy and, you know, out of the street. So yeah, so that is my week. I would love anyone to always provide feedback. Let me know any topics that you want to hear, any things you want to discuss. You know, this is going to be a growing platform, so I will have guests coming. And yeah, Wind Down Fridays. I do want to end by saying I am coming out with my life planner. This will drop by Christmas, so I'm in the works of getting everything together, and I'm super, super excited to bring this to you. And I do feel like on future episodes, I will bring it out in live action. But it's amazing. It's literally a life planner. So it's not the traditional planner where you have, you know, daily tickers and you're writing. Like, yes, I do have a monthly format where you have space to write per day. But it's really just thinking of the bigger picture. So I have a vision board section. I have a section where you're able to write down your goals. You're able to create a monthly budget. You're able to do some mental health check-ins. Just really good stuff. I'm excited. I'm really excited to drop it. I'm excited to bring it to you. I hope that you all find it useful and continue to support me. You know, bellandblessed.com, Instagram blessedandbell. That's BLESSEDANDBELLE. Bellandblessed.com is my website. And I will definitely, if you follow me on social media, you will see the drop coming in time for Christmas. So I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. Wind Down Fridays. I hope you enjoyed this second episode. Feel free to leave me feedback, review, and subscribe to my YouTube channel because I did create a YouTube. And I look forward to see you next week. Have an awesome weekend. Take care and stay blessed and bell.